Hello and welcome to Digital North. I'm Ryan Hamilton. Join with me today are Jonathan Tompkins
Hi.
and David Nielsen.
Sup, yeah?
Today we're going to be talking about Milk, the 2008 film with Sean Penn
Oh,
as Harvey Milk.
supposed to watch a fit. I just went to the grocery store instead. Guys,
You just got
To
some milk.
get some milk.
kidding.
Ah, John loves milk.
Jokester.
You never know with
Joke.
him because half the time he says that
What?
and he is joking, but the other half he really
Ah,
is just getting milk.
Talking
yep,
about milk.
yep.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
He's, yeah,
I'm
Um,
he's
employed.
lactose tolerant.
Dave, you chose milk this week.
Speaking of
hmm
tolerance,
Why don't you tell us a bit about it? Tell us about why you chose milk.
I chose
What
milk
is your
because,
fascination with politics?
oh, well, that's deep rooted. I don't think we have enough time to talk about that. Let's
Also,
talk about why I
have you
chose the movie.
guys seen Milk before our discussion of it?
The
no.
liquid?
This is the first time I saw it. Also, the movie, I hadn't seen that either.
I don't think
That's
there
probably
was.
too many milk puns for what's gonna about to happen.
I'm pretty sure the cow product was not pictured in the film, if I recall,
Mm.
Oh, they were
which was
drinking.
pretty disappointing because
Oh, they
they were
were.
drinking,
There
and they
were
were
there
drinking
were
other stuff too.
memories. There were a couple memories.
Were there? I don't
There
think
was
so.
milk of the male variety.
A
Yeah, that's
man's
not.
milk, if you
Mammary is
will.
a female variety.
A mannery, if you will.
A
So
man.
I
uh, my manneries. Yeah,
I
that's
chose it because
I chose
Sean
it.
Penn, wonderful actor,
I chose this milk.
trying to get us back on track. Sean Penn, wonderful actor, plenty of, I mean, at least one or two other great actors in there. The story is very, very relevant just to our national history. The first openly gay person elected to a public office,
major
Hmm.
public office. Yes.
major public office. And it's a great movie too. Got plenty of recognition. And so I thought, why not? We've had other gay films on here in the past.
All the ones
Not, sorry, I don't mean homosexual, I mean gay.
right. Thank
Okay.
you for perpetuating terrible, terrible prejudicial slurs. And
Um.
yeah,
Yeah. One of the I've seen Milk before. I saw it. I guess pretty much right after it came out. Um.
hey
But it
man,
was it was interesting to see it
school,
again. It'd
it's
be a
high
good
school.
talk. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're talking Ryan Hamilton, ninth grade, Reckon Dad Poon.
Oh, I was there, and he was. Well, we'll talk about it later. Um, I saw this for the first time uh, after it was assigned to the group. I'm very glad I did. Just like pretty much all the stuff that we talk about here, I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah.
Uh, this film being made in 2008, uh, kind of I didn't man, I didn't even think about when it was made. And oftentimes when you watch movies from the early to late 2000s, that whole decade, it's hard to watch them and be like, and not, feel like, God, this is so 2000s,
Cringe, right?
because it
Yeah.
was an awkward time in our lives. As a 20-something-year-old now, I was an awkward weirdo teenager, middle school kid back then, and I think
Mm-hmm.
darkly on those times.
Of
So
course, you're
this,
only speaking for yourself.
I, so I thought it was quite nice to see something that is super timeless like this, and they did a pretty amazing. I mean, I wasn't there in the late 70s, but they seem to have done a pretty amazing job at blending the 2008 filming with newsreel, with
Yeah.
Yeah.
articles, film, interviews, all that stuff. That was contemporary with when the story was taking place.
Yeah, I didn't know when it was filmed, and I thought it could have been a lot more recent than that.
Yeah.
I was thinking more like 2012 or 13 or something.
The only reason being that James Franco is in it. That dates
Right,
it.
Yeah,
right.
that's
Right?
true.
If Sean
It
Penn
dates it. Well, he's
look-
been in plenty of
there-
stuff since then.
there is a portrait of Sean Penn that looks like a 500-year-old man somewhere, because that guy has looked the same for like
right.
he
Right.
looked like a 40-year-old man when he was like 17, and he looks like a 40-year-old man now when he's probably like 65.
I don't know. I thought he's always looked pretty fine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
Have you seen that one where?
Somebody want to tell us, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I was really struck by Milk this time, I guess, or something I've been noticing recently, looking back on like material from like 2008, 2006, like things from the earlier 2000s. I'm really struck by how far like gay rights have come legally, because like to me it seems so normal that like gay marriage is legal. Like it just seemed so like common sense. Like of course it was going to happen like throughout
Mm-hmm.
like since I was pretty young. So I am always surprised when for example, I was listening to Macklemore not too long ago, and Same Love, that song came on, and I remembered that was before it was legal to marry someone of the same sex in America. And then like Key and Peele also had some like skits about gay marriage, and like there's just a lot of material like in the years leading up to gay marriage being legal in America, that there was a lot of cultural like focus on it, which I thought was really interesting to find around material around the time when we were in middle school and high school, because for me it just seems so I guess
Ingrained in the culture, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, ingrained in the
Part
culture.
of
That's
our
true.
culture
Yeah,
already.
yeah, and like unquestionably so. Like it was never like, I don't know. It was never.
Well, if you voted in the 2012 election, that was my freshman year of college, and I remember there was stuff all around my campus. Vote yes, I believe, was the proposition for giving gay marriage rights to people. And that was 5 years ago now? Yeah, 5 years ago.
And that's so surprising
And it just,
to me, because it feels
yeah,
like it
even that,
was like so many years before then. Like it seemed
Yeah,
like it was just like a part of life growing up always. And
Yeah, and if you guys remember when we were just starting high school, there was all of the Proposition 8 stuff.
yeah. Oh
We
yeah.
lived through that,
Mhm.
all that Proposition 8 stuff. And I pulled it back up on Wikipedia because I didn't want to make an ass out of myself talking about it and not really knowing exactly what happened.
good job
I'm
starting
just
now on that.
going to read a little blurb from Wikipedia. Proposition 8 was California ballot proposition and state constitutional amendment passed in November 2008 California state elections, created by opponents of same-sex marriage in advance of the Supreme Court's May 2008 appeal ruling in remarriage cases, which followed the short-lived 2004 same-sex weddings controversy that found the previous ban on same-sex marriage, Proposition 22, unconstitutional. So it was ruled unconstitutional by a federal court in 2010 and went into effect in 2013 after a bunch of appeals. So this was a long thing from 2004 to 2013, and this film came out in the thick of it after California had ruled against same-sex marriage with Proposition 8. And I remember in Minnesota people getting pretty heated about that, especially where we went to middle school at an arts middle school that was very into well, not very into, but not into making kids do, specific stuff and having lots of traditional education means. We were not a traditional
Yeah,
education.
in a lot of ways, I felt like fair, and just like my parents' friends and my community growing up was so isolating, in terms of just like unwavering support for the gay community, that it
Yeah,
like I think, yeah, especially like going to fair really kind of kept us in that bubble.
yeah.
Not in a bad way, but like in a way that like nobody questioned whether or not it was okay to be gay, and like relatively like openly so. And I always found that so like striking growing up. And during my second watching of Milk for us to talk about this, I learned that Minneapolis is actually the fourth gayest city in the country
The
by
city I
Wow,
by
live
you didn't
in.
know that?
percentage.
City I
By
live.
percentage. Yeah.
Of people
Yeah,
who identify
So
as,
it
yeah.
goes San Francisco, where Milk is filmed, then Seattle, then Atlanta, then Minneapolis.
I want to say that it's been identified as like, as far as gay-friendly cities go, like top two.
Oh, has it?
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So
apparently
that
pretty.
is insofar as to say that we, David, you are from Minnesota, right?
I am, yes.
Okay, where are you
West
from again?
Metro, represent Plymouth.
Nice. Plymouth,
So
Minnetonka,
we're,
represent
yeah, so I think we form
55305,
like a continuous
baby.
city line.
And
New
Ryan
Hope,
was mentioning
yeah,
Fair School.
yeah.
And for those viewers who are not aware of what Fair School is, FAIR is an acronym that stands for Fine Arts Interdisciplinary Resource School. And it was just
The magnets,
a
right?
middle school. It was a magnet school that had kids from well, not all districts, but a bunch of different district areas around the greater metro of
Right.
Minneapolis, St. Paul. It had kids from Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, South Minneapolis. It
It
had kids
would
from the suburbs,
it would grab
everything.
like 2 to 6 students from all of the like adjacent and neighboring school districts and bring them into this just
Right.
central location in Crystal.
So instead of going to a middle school slash elementary school, it was fourth grade to eighth grade, where it was all kids from your neighborhood that you live around, that you've been in the same schools with forever. It was a bunch of kids you've never met before,
Never met before.
at this super cool school with teachers that were really into what the school was about,
Mm-hmm.
which was getting kids engaged in like open-minded thinking, arts, but without being, like a lot of associations with, like arts high schools being
Yeah.
just for kids that can't do normal school. It was a normal school that also had these awesome teachers doing like dance class and doing visual arts class and the band
Basically,
and orchestra and choir and all that stuff.
yeah. If your parents were like mine, it's the kind of school that scares them because they teach you the quote liberal values.
Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
That's
Many,
definitely
so
true.
many,
That's definitely true.
so many
And in like
liberal
such
values.
such a lovely way too. And like also part of the magnet school thing, not to get too deep into the middle school that we went to, because we should talk about Milk.
It's definitely gonna come up again though. We
Yeah.
definitely will talk about this again.
Yeah, that's true.
In another-
It also meant that after middle school, when you go back to your home district,
Oh
you only
yeah,
have like 1 or 2 other people who went to fair with you.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like David, I think there were maybe like 3 other people who went to Armstrong from fair. One of them being Tinley Stanky,
Oh,
and
Tenley.
I didn't know she went to fair.
yeah,
And
yeah,
she was
she's
in
a fair
that
Yep.
girl. Yeah,
kind of
that's
another group
She
too,
may
right?
actually
she's
have died somewhere of alcohol abuse. Not sure.
no,
Nah.
Shout out to Tinley.
Just
Tinley's
kidding.
pretty
Stop,
cool.
Stanley.
Tenley, you are always
Better be
cool.
kidding.
Yeah, she's
I went
cool,
to your
cool.
house. It was one of the greatest nights of my life.
I went there. Where were you there the same night? I don't know. Maybe.
Were you there? I don't know. Maybe we met. Yes, but like when I went back to high school, Wayzata High School, 3,600 students from Plymouth and Wayzata and like a little bit from Minnetonka where I was from. The school was the size of a like university, a small university, and
And their
was
noses had a distinct upturn too.
yes, designed by a prison architect. Everything was completely white in it, cold, devoid, and unfeeling, but with a pretty good band program. So back
Yeah.
to
All
back
right.
to
Well,
that's
just
what we're kind
real
of thinking
quick, like
about.
where I went to a private Catholic school for a couple of years in middle school, and then I went to Armstrong, and my parents are distinctly religious. And so we didn't have the same sort of quotes liberal values. And I say that because like everybody identified mostly as conservative.
Mm.
And
Oh, okay.
as far as like gay rights went, it was so in the film it's like, okay, should we be able to kick them out of jobs, kick them out of homes, things like that. They didn't agree with any of those things. But then they got to the gay marriage part and they were like, I just don't think that it's good for the families. I don't think that
Right, man.
it's not really net. I don't
That
think
was
you
that
can
whole thing that
build
came up
something
where it's
around.
like,
Wait,
well,
wait,
and
wait,
what if you have
I
David.
mean,
dads and
Dave-
it's like
David, did you say that you watched Milk with your parents?
no, I did not.
Oh,
No, but
uh,
I should.
but you know that they would. Wait, what do you mean then? You were just talking about
Just the
your.
community around it. No, it was just sort of there, especially in the Christian community.
Oh, like
So
in real life, your
your
parents have
parents
said
yes.
that they don't really
basic, yeah, wouldn't really
care for like
support
gay rights.
Well, my dad doesn't really
not gay
speak
rights.
about
I
it.
think he's saying
No,
marriage
just
in
explicitly marriage rights, which a lot of people believe, especially religious people, that marriage is an inherently religious institution. And so if the people who are engaging in marriage are not people who are accepted by the religion, then they should find other ways to be together than by engaging in marriage.
right. Okay.
Interesting. So you grew up,
That's
you kind of grew up
appropriation.
with that like doctrine. Is that kind of like the
Yes.
environment that you grew up in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up where my mom told me that I would have been a pretty girl.
hmm I can definitely see your mom saying that.
Yep, absolutely,
Uh,
Jody.
You'd be a great gay, Jonathan. You'd be such a great gay.
That's what she meant in so many words, but I think she would have been okay. I think she would have been like, yes. Like, I wanted a girl. This is what I got. That's fine. That's okay.
Close enough.
It's close.
so
I mean,
to get us back onto Milk, you guys want to hear a fun fact about Harvey Milk that we don't learn in the documentary or
Yes,
biopic
please.
or film
Love to.
or whatever?
That's called film, yeah.
He was a lieutenant in the Korean War.
Heyo.
And
Bowser.
he yeah. I wish I had more.
You know what
more
branch
things
you
to share
served
with
in?
you right here. Let me-
Or
let
if
me
you
look
saw
it up.
action, or if he was involved in any.
My grandfather was in charge
Let me
of
look that
moving
up.
ordnance in the Korean War.
Oh. Do you think
Yeah.
that maybe your dad knew him? He was in the Navy. So
Well,
he
my grandfather was
he was in the
Korean.
U.S. Navy from 1951 to 1955. He
Hmm.
served upon the USS Kitawake.
I could ask my dad and see. Because
if they know each other.
well, I asked my dad where his dad was stationed and if he was in the Navy or not.
Oh.
And if he
Yeah.
knew any gay guys named Harvey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ask
Oh,
him if you met
turns out my
any
grandfather
Wait,
was-
no.
Stellas over there in the Navy.
Straight guys who seemed
him.
gay. Actually,
I mean,
at
my
that point, he
grandfather
would have
left.
been.
My grandfather left his wife, so maybe he was actually just a gay man and that was his thing, and him and Harvey
That
totally
was you who said that, by the way.
had at it.
You need to explicitly ask your dad that in order for him to
Yeah.
understand. So just
Was
Yeah.
Grandpa
ask your
gay?
dad
Were you
if he
born by
ever
America?
Dad,
brought
was
any guys
grandpa
over.
gay? Should I ask now?
Yeah,
Can I
I
ask-
mean if you have time.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll
Yeah,
go ask,
we
I'll
can
go
wait.
ask.
It's fine. It's fine.
Can anyone
We
hear me
can wait.
sniffling? I have a little bit of a sniffle, and I really don't want people to hear my sniffle.
It's okay.
No, I'm not.
So
I haven't heard it.
Okay,
so
I'll be right back, guys.
in
Talk it out.
in Milk, there was a lot of kind of playful gay eroticism. Was that off-putting
Yeah.
for you? Do you think it could be a
I,
barrier for
you
some
know what?
people?
Definitely it could be. Every time that especially when like towards the start when they're making out right in front of the store,
Mm-hmm.
I thought like at first I was kind of like, okay, you shouldn't be doing that. Like that's a
Oh,
bad idea
you
and
mean
stuff. But
in
then
the
I was like,
subway area?
no, when right after they opened, like the scene when he talks to the
Oh,
guy at
mm,
liquor store across the way and he wipes his hand and stuff, and then they sit out right in front of their camera store and they're making out.
yeah.
At first, I was like, yeah, bad idea. It doesn't turn me on, yada yada. But then I was like, wait, if one of those people were female, I would be totally in on that, right? Like, yeah, go ahead. It's San Francisco, free love, yeah,
Mm, sure.
and go at it. And then I was like, okay, well, it's just because I'm not attracted to either of them.
Well, maybe. Yeah. Maybe that's part of the reason.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, I think that's yeah, I think it could definitely be kind of like a barrier for people
I
who
mean, yeah,
like
either way, like, I don't think that it's a great idea, even if it was a heterosexual relationship. You probably shouldn't be making out on the street, but you're overcome with passion with a partner you really love.
yeah,
So,
it could happen. It could happen. Um, it was pretty
so Sean,
interesting when they
go ahead.
when it showed footage of Harvey Milk agreeing to boycott Coors and make his like section of the city do that
Yeah,
as well. And I was
I
just
thought
always
that was,
interested in like why it is that the guy wanted the gay district to do that. Like I wanted to know that story. I wanted to know
because there were
like why are you
significant
sabotaging these
population
people?
of males. I think it was because there was significant population and they were all male. And since it's the Teamsters Union, which is like 90, at that point, probably 99% male,
Mm-hmm.
he just probably wanted them. What I found more, I don't know, I questioned more is why they didn't really explain it, why Harvey really wanted to go for it. I mean, I'm sure it was kind of a literary tool in the movie just to show that he was ready to do political things for his own cause, but then later on, he explicitly, says, I'm not going to do political things for my own cause. I'm just going to further my own cause. So I thought that was a bit contradictory, but I did understand why they did it and why he might have done it. I know that the movie doesn't totally explain everything that he did because it's only an hour and a half, and it took longer than an hour and a half for him to do his whole political career. I think it
Amazing.
was actually 2 hours.
That's an interesting point to make, but that's something I really noticed about the editing. Like the movie was mostly shot as like a series of scenes,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
like the cuts really indicated like, like pretty relatively
yeah.
long passages of time every
It was
time that they had it,
non-continuous.
and so there was, yeah, it was a little bit discontinuous, and there's always a lot of time that was omitted, and yeah, I wrote that down too because it's based off of several years of his life instead of
Yeah.
just, like a plot that you would make a
I
movie
would
for.
call it a compound storyline where there were two sets of stories. There
Mm,
was
yes.
Harvey, the public official, and all the goings on in the country that were on the news, that were official, that were all of the public speaking that he did, leading the teams that he did to get elected. And then there was another section where it was kind of Harvey the man, and it was him meeting what's his name? His the guy that he kind of hangs out with for the first part of the film that he meets in the subway. Scott Smith.
Oh,
Scott, that was his name.
oh, I was gonna
Um,
say the actor.
when he first meet, yeah, James Franco as Scott Smith.
Right.
When he meets James Franco and they kiss, and I'm like, oh, um, and all of his personal endeavors and how he's feeling and his late night calls and things like that, and it bounces between the two of them enough where I would say It's trying to give a full picture and a series of snapshots of big events in his life.
Yeah, because
Right.
it has to serve the story, because everybody knows what the ending is, so it has to effectively build up to that. But before we go further, Jonathan, I think the people want to know, was your grandfather gay?
Well, that one is lost to the ages. We'll never know. I think
Oof.
consensus is he was pretty straight. But I did find out from my dadu
That
that
he slept
he
with
was
7 men?
that he that he was stationed in the landings in Incheon in Korea, South Korea, right?
Hmm.
North Korea, whichever one the Korean War was in. Sorry,
I'm
guys,
not sure it was
not a
determined at
history
the time.
buff
It
myself.
was in both. The
Yeah, it
Korean
was.
War happened in Korea.
I
The
figured
division between North and South were not
did not really
clear
exist.
at the
Okay,
time, yeah.
that would explain my confusion. And he was in the Army. He was 5th Army Corps, 10th Brigade, 10th Mountain Brigade, and he was they would move artillery. So I got that right. They did move artillery. He was in it from about 52 and 53. He was in it for 2 years. So he was over there um, when Harvey Milk would have been there, which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
And
No.
there's another cool story where they had him walk. They left a bunch of artillery somewhere. I don't know where it was, but they had the unit
Korea,
walk
probably.
back to somewhere in Korea. They're like, there's military
Hopefully
equipment
not in the
somewhere
open
in Korea.
ocean.
We need you to get it. And he had to walk there to get it with the unit, and it was a hell of a ways, I guess. And he got on a truck. Apparently, he wasn't supposed to get on, and I like hitched a ride. And he says he would have lost his feet because they would have frozen off if he had to walk the whole thing. So he took the
That
truck
means
instead.
he knew people who tried to walk it and lost their feet.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, he said the unit was scattered out all over the place and it was a big mess. So I guess
Now
that's
the
why.
people want to know, did he ever appear in the TV show MASH?
He probably did, David. I think the audience should definitely hold their breath on that one and go back and watch MASH. And if you see someone that looks like me but older,
Yeah.
that's probably him.
Well,
Yep.
the royalty check suggests that he did, right?
If I found royalty checks.
Another fun
Wow.
fact about Harvey Milk is that after serving in the Korean War, he was transferred to Naval Station San Diego, and he was a diving instructor. That's pretty cool.
So this dude really did do everything besides come out of the closet before he was 40.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, he lived a pretty full life, pretty fierce. I mean, I can definitely see how the rise of a lieutenant to kind of lower public office could happen.
And think about what he said in the film. They had it as a prelude and as a postlude at the end, where he said, "Look at me. I'm 40 and I've done nothing that I'm proud of in my life."
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it says a lot. It's about what he's proud of, man. It's about following what he really believes in, and all that military stuff and all that stuff that's supposed to be great and amazing. Well, that only means what it means to you. And it did, that guy obviously had some freaking
Yeah, what
cojones.
do you think?
Well, also, we don't know if he actually said that in real life either. I mean,
Oh,
that's
he
just
said
part of
that
the
Obvious.
film.
to that guy that he found on the subway and banged. He definitely said that.
James Franco?
Yes.
But
I'm
do you
assuming he
think,
recounted that night in his either in
did
his
that
little
actually happen, by the way?
did it?
So, Jonathan, do
I
you
don't
think
know.
that the snapshots of this biopic are just like retellings from Harvey Milk himself before he died? That he wrote
That
down that people are just trying to like remake? Or how do you think
that
people are talking to
is
him?
how I saw it because the angle on this one seemed to be quite historical, rebuilding the things that the guy did. I mean, he had that tape that was I'm assuming the tape wasn't baloney, that's actually something that he recorded before he was killed, right?
Did
God,
he?
that's not
I'm,
real.
I'm
Then
trying
I
to
am
look it up right now,
so
but
misled.
I don't know if he did.
Here's the plot. Archival footage of police raiding by gay bars. Oh, wait, sorry, that's the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was an acted out scene with Sean Penn and James Franco that I'm talking about. And in the subway station, that wasn't. I mean, like, I don't think that script for that scene was pulled from the historical documents
Oh,
and
I
that it
don't
was
think any.
reenacted.
Okay, no,
I
wait.
don't think any
He
scripts
did.
taken.
He did record
Yeah,
something.
that's what I'm talking about. Or unless you're like referencing a direct quote from one of those videos, is that what you're talking about?
No,
I,
he actually did record an assassination tape, according to Wikipedia that I'm reading right now.
yeah,
And I think that it is actually, maybe word for word from what I'm reading, it looks like it is.
I would assume it was incredibly close.
1977, November 18th is when it was recorded.
Oh, so yeah, and it says in the plot
Quoted by
for the film-
Randy Shilts, Shilts.
Yeah, it says in the film, Milk is seen recording his will 9 days before the assassinations on November 18th, 1978.
Hmm.
So
Oh,
that
sure,
would
sure, sure.
God.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
what it would be like to be part of a demographic where just running for office, you would be compelled to record an audio tape of your last wishes because you
That
knew that there was a great chance you would be assassinated.
that blows my mind. I can't, dude. I can't even. Because that's. God, I would never do it. I'm too much of a puss. Do it. I'm like, oh, there's death involved. I'm okay.
I mean, that would be a difficult task to purposefully take, and I guess that's why we respect people, or like it's such a
How
shocking thing for that to happen. But like, even so, I mean, it seemed like in America around this time, so many prominent people were getting assassinated. I mean, I know this
Mostly
is
before this time, though.
yeah, before this time. That's true. But it just seems like
Well,
it's kind of a
yeah,
continuous
exactly. If you
thing.
consider all of American history, that's a pretty condensed period of assassinations.
It's like, yeah, 10-year period from like
Yeah.
65 to 80 about.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
it's
Reagan was shot.
it's kind of wild for me to think that things like that could happen in a somewhat modern American society.
Isn't it amazing
It really is
how
because I feel like
just
growing.
yesterday, we're goddamn barbarians, or at least that's what we think of it today. And we see this. I mean, we see this stuff. There's probably a lot of people today, not too far from where we are right now, that would see
No.
this and be like, yeah, this shouldn't have happened, right? This all,
Right.
everything
I
should
mean,
have been the way
relative
it
to
is then.
this is like, so this happened 40 years ago, 40 years before that. Hitler was designing, he was probably writing Mein Kampf about now.
Yeah, right? Wow. God.
But then,
One thing I wanted to bring up before we end here, two things I want to bring up. One would be what you guys think of the filming and the style and the just production itself, acting. We should touch on that, and then also how they captured or didn't capture this sense of like purpose, that that feeling when you're in something and you're in the thick of it and you know that you have to do it, and it's just something kind of incredible. I don't know if you guys have felt that before,
Never.
but that's
No.
what this film.
I don't
That's
know
what
if
this
anybody
film
has
captured.
for the last 30
No,
years.
only me watching this film has felt that.
Yeah,
Only me.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. It was kind of
So
it
what
was
you guys think?
difficult for me to stay focused on the film.
Guys?
Well, actually, I don't think that's necessarily
Why?
true. But so this is my second time watching Milk, and I did find that my attention was taken from the screen more than I thought it should have been, and I think it's kind of because of the way it was edited. I guess like it like because of the disjointed nature of it, it really like it was shocking to me when what was James Franco's
Scott.
actual
Scott.
Scott, like when Scott and Harvey like broke up, like that
Yeah,
transition
that one was hard to
to
catch.
Harvey being with Jack Lira, his the
Mm.
Cuban or Spanish or um yeah.
Cleve Jones was his name, right? Or is that
uh,
somebody else?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know. But
It's
yeah.
Cleve Jones.
So
Yeah.
I thought that some of the editing was a little bit confusing, and it kind of made it so that I never really cared about Jack Lira as a character in the story.
No, I kind of
Like
didn't like him.
their beginning was never like captured. Like there's never anything positive about old Jackie boy being
Yeah.
with him.
Oh yeah, you're right. Jack Lira. I apologize, everyone. Not Cleve Jones. Jack Lira.
Okay,
He's got it right.
where's Jack Lira from?
Jack Lira. Christ, I can't look up his whole
Brazil, I
name.
bet.
Yeah.
I thought Spain before, but I'm thinking Brazil now.
Oh God.
Anyways,
Uh,
while you figure that out, I think, yeah, a lot of it was because you have to, as a filmmaker, you have to serve the story, and the main character is just such a draw, and Sean Penn's such a good actor that you want to focus on him as much as you can, but it's hard to develop him without also using the surrounding actors and characters with that. But then you're also trying to jump so much between different timelines, so every character has to develop in some way, and then you end up sacrificing kind of the emotional scenes that would otherwise drive Sean Penn, and he just ends up kind of being a static character
Yeah,
in a
just
way.
He's a
struggling
little.
in new ways.
Yes. But to stay on what Ryan's talking about and what we're talking about, which is
Editing.
how we thought it was filmed, edited, and acted. I agree with Ryan. That was one particular point that I was a bit confused about when he was with the
Mr. Lira.
nice hairless South American boy. I was like, wait, is he gonna bring this dude home? I'm like, yo, he's cheating right now. He's cheating on my boy Scott Smith. Turns out he wasn't, and he wasn't with Scott anymore. And maybe
No,
I
they
was
broke
like,
up. You didn't know that?
I was like picking my nose when that happened.
He
I
left him
kind of
when he
knew
wanted
that
to
he
go
wasn't
for
with
the
him.
third election.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see him looking out the window, shaking his head at him while
Oh,
he's
yeah, no.
guiding the crowd, and I was like,
He'd already left him by the time that, like,
Yeah.
as soon as he lost the second election, he left him because
So
he
that was
didn't
a little
Um,
say that
confusing.
he wanted to
Other
not
than
go.
that, I thought pretty freaking well edited, picking what needs to be a Harvey the man scene and what needs to be a Harvey the Politico scene is.
Right. Yeah.
Scenes are what
Mhm.
I think was done really well.
Some good snapshots.
Seeing the original film, I mean, they did such a good job of making the filming that they did in 2008 really 70s.
Yeah.
Really merged the gaps between when they showed the stuff that was on TV and all that. They did a great job of doing that.
Yeah, that's
Sean
true.
Penn's acting was awesome. I mean, it was really awesome. He was Harvey Milk.
Mm.
I feel like even because they
Yeah.
showed
Oh my
news
goodness.
clippings and they showed video of Harvey, and I'm assuming it was Scott with him, or maybe also with what is the other guy's name? Jack Lira, second boyfriend.
Mm.
And man, they had the same kind of demeanor, held themselves the same way. It was amazing. And
Yeah, it was spot
James
on.
Franco makes a great gay dude.
Hey, he played the part well.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
his kisses were
Yeah.
were tender and
Mm.
I suppose I can
convincing.
say I was more attracted to him than I have been ever before.
my God, David.
Speaking of the
tell ya.
acting and like the story that they stitched together, I thought that Emil Hirsch's character was pretty
Who was
flat and like didn't really
Was he
add
the-
much to the
the
story
kid?
until like
Yes,
his
and-
one.
Yeah, exactly.
Emil
I didn't
Hirsch
think
was
so
the
at
kid
point.
who was going to
He
Spain.
was Emil Hirsch.
Yeah,
My God,
Oh,
he didn't look like Emil Hirsch, did
is,
he?
is Emil Hirsch
Am I crazy?
a
acting.
gay dude? Oh, he's German, Jewish, English, Scots, Irish ancestry, born in Los Angeles. He's from LA. Ah.
But yeah, his
Oh,
genealogy.
it all makes sense.
He didn't look like Emil Hirsch, but I agree. Like the
Yeah, his
character himself didn't. It was my opinion, but I don't think. Yeah, the character. I don't like it that
Yeah, I
much.
didn't really like. Yeah, I thought that like, of course, it was an important character in history, and so they would definitely have been remiss if they didn't include him in the story and key points where he was there. But also, I just felt like they didn't do anything with him as a character.
I
Uh,
see.
Yeah.
So the inclusion of the
Oh,
character, the writing for the
you didn't think
character
the acting was
himself.
bad?
I
I
would
think,
say it's a
yeah,
combination of Emil Hirsch's acting, maybe, but mostly the way that the character was written and used in the plot.
agreed.
And
Not much
like
Yeah.
happened with him.
even if
Yeah.
he was just like behind typing away at a desk half the time instead of just sitting there like sullenly, that would have been better, I guess.
Well, the
So
first scene I thought he was pretty good, but then I thought he was kind of, I don't know, for what the character seemed almost not too flamboyant because that's a loaded term, but
So
like he was trying to steal the scene when he was not.
I think I know what you're trying to say, man. It was like some kid out of acting school in LA playing a gay guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
did you guys pick up that when James Franco's character was introduced to Emil Hirsch's character, he said, "What do you do? Like work the streets?" And Emil said, "Yeah, gotta do what you have to." That point was never addressed before, whether or not he was actually a prostitute before
Yeah, it was
joining their
in the very
political.
first scene.
Yeah, but never. No, I know that's what I just said.
Right, it was
I
like
said
said
since the
one
first scene,
time.
it was never addressed
Oh,
again,
well,
which
I
is
just heard
just
that.
Yeah, you
so
just like,
interesting.
oh, it's almost like he said in his memoirs, in Harvey's memoirs,
Yeah,
I
he
met this
was a
kid on the
whore.
street. I asked if he was turning tricks. He said, yeah. I said, you should sign up. He said, I'm going to Spain. Later, he became my campaign manager. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of seems
exactly.
like they had to fill in the gaps from there.
Yeah,
But
right.
All
um,
right, now we're friends.
how,
I join
what do you
you.
guys think? What do you guys think about their success or unsuccessful attempt at making this feel like it was heavy, like it had weight to it, and like something was really happening, and we were being brought along with
I
it?
thought it was successful. Very.
Right, right?
Yeah, if you put it in those terms, I'd say I agree with that too. If
Okay.
you package it like that,
JT, what
yeah.
do you
I mean,
think?
like I could
JT
imagine
likes. JT likes.
because there were plenty of times where he wasn't just going up against a bunch of ignorant people, but he was going up against a lot of people who were entrenched in the political situation and who he had to fight against, and he had to persuade
Yes,
the people around him to fight with him. And I think that's a very identifiable and very
exactly.
current
That's
type
what
thing.
this was all about. That's what this was all about. The first time that a group of people in history that I know of were able to come together and really do something and really lay some framework. Ronald Reagan, they said in the film, and probably in real life, although I can't confirm that, was against Proposition 6 to, get rid of teachers especially and other employees that were openly gay. Ronald Reagan was against this, dude, the Republican president.
I'm sure it was. I mean,
Yeah,
he didn't recognize that AIDS was an issue for like something like 5 years after it had been killing thousands of people.
yeah. So this obviously did some crazy good, and we already went over how we saw in our childhoods and our early teenage years when Proposition 8 had been passed, how people reacted and how it felt like an injustice to a lot of people, us included, where it may not have felt like an injustice if we were back in the late 70s.
Right. Yeah, it would
Yeah,
have
totally.
maybe carried less inertia with it, like less total like mass of people that are behind it, like even just kind of implicitly without say. Um Yeah,
I'm sure back if I were
I
raised
agree.
in the late 70s in the same circumstances, I would have, I mean,
I feel
probably
like it just
voted
would never
against.
it just never would have been like raised in those circumstances, I feel.
No.
Like
And if
most
it
likely.
were,
But
You
I
guys
probably
ever
would have voted
you guys
speaking
ever
against
of
gone
gay
out in
rights.
drag before?
Have I been in drag before?
Yeah, David. Don't lie.
yeah, David,
Um, I've never gone to
tell
a
it like
drag
it
club
is.
in drag.
Well, next time you got nothing to do, we'll go to gay 90s and we'll we'll do the whole thing.
Oh,
That's something other than gay
that'd be
90s
fun.
because that's just such a straight magnet. It's not even.
Yeah,
They
to
don't
be
like it
honest, it's
all
not
that
a very
much
good bar.
because that's the
It's
one that all the
yeah,
straight people go to.
it's a weird place.
There's a street corner I know of that we can hang out at.
Oh, really? You
Yeah.
turn in tricks. You should come back
No,
and sign
I'm going
up
to Spain.
Do we
speaking
have?
of news footage, I
Mm,
thought it was really just moving to see how many people came out for the candlelight vigil for Harvey Milk and the mayor
Third
of
best.
San Francisco.
mm,
There were
yes,
so many people
absolutely,
out there.
Yeah.
absolutely, man. God, what is with this? Tragedies, dude.
Yeah, and so
Tragedies. All this suffering,
yeah,
like
and so in the
cultural
epilogue,
suffering.
we have yeah, we're told that Dan White, who is the shooter, had a famous defense in court called the Dan White Twinkie defense, where his lawyer argued on the behalf um, of Dan, saying that his diet is what made him kill these people, and it was because of the Twinkies that he was eating and the sugar that they contained that he
Oh,
Yeah.
was
Okay,
wow.
not
so
that
I
he
have
was
something
not
to say
mentally stable and able
in
to,
general about the
keep
character
from killing people.
and the actual person. So if that's a defense you're going to make, obviously you have no defense and you killed him just because he was gay. I don't. The
Or because
representation
of
of
the
him,
political repercussions of what happened.
But he was given the minimum
maybe.
charge for the murders,
Yes,
and
yes.
he
No, no,
and
no, no,
he
no. I know, I
murdered
know.
a mayor. I mean, that's
That's
crazy.
yeah. That it's super gosh darned crazy.
Gosh
I
darn
think
it.
his
Did you say
representation.
gosh darn because you were raised Catholic?
No, because I had
He's a Plymouth boy.
reasons we don't need to get into.
Gosh
I don't
Oh,
know.
darn
okay.
it.
I'm not.
I just want
I'm
to
not
put out
religious.
there.
I don't
I am
think I
very
can
sorry
teach
if I've
this.
ever taken the name of your Lord and Savior in vain.
Not my Lord and Savior, and that's why I don't use it because I don't.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, so
well, to all the viewers, anyone's
anyways,
Lord or anyone's Savior.
I think he was
Jesus.
represented in the movie as somebody who was troubled and actually did have convictions, and for whatever reason they didn't align. I mean, obviously his convictions just happened to hate gays, but I think in reality it was more that he hated gays and he was probably a reckless person who cared about himself. And so there's probably kind of a mismatch in the movie and what actually happened. I'm sure he was just a hater and
Are you talking about
a
Dan White?
yeah.
He wasn't. Oh, actually, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say he wasn't a character in the movie, but he definitely
He was a
was.
character,
Talk
and
about
he was a
Oh
character.
my
White.
God, I
It's like
forgot
the
about that.
Voldemort of
But
gay
in the
rights
movie,
history.
it seemed like he was represented as a guy who was just out of his wits. Like he really did care about his Catholic Irish folk, but
Yeah.
then he was driven to insanity,
Yeah,
and
he
then he ended up
could not
arguing
handle the
Twink
change.
defense.
Yeah, he
It was
couldn't
the
handle the
Twinkies.
change.
Yeah, it was the Twinkies. He
It
just
was the
couldn't
goddamn.
do it.
You know what? Everything goes back to some external
I mean, you
fact.
have to
It's
like as far as the
it's
narrative
not that
goes,
he
you
couldn't
have
go
to
with
have
it.
something.
It's just that the sugar made him jittery, and so he was flip flopping between should I do it or not,
All
and
he was
just
doing is
you know
showing his
hitting on and
friends his
off.
gun,
Yeah,
and he was so jittery
and
that
in
he
that
killed
scene,
both of them.
Yeah,
Harvey's
I mean,
birthday, he was just drinking straight liquefied Twinkies. That
But
wasn't alcohol.
just shaking, just shaking. You got
But
ratings?
okay, so I think for the movie, yeah, soon. For the movie, I think that they did have to have an opposition person who seemed like he may be on his side, and then all of a sudden it escalated to him killing him.
Yeah,
And that serves the purpose of the narrative, but I don't think that's how it happened in reality. I think it's
Sure.
more likely he actually did just hate him from the start
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
was gay.
I think that's definitely true. And yeah, that made me think that he he seemed like he was on Harvey's side until he wasn't. Like I didn't feel like there were many instances that like made us question whether or not he was
Yeah.
a good guy. Like it always seemed like he was begrudgingly
Good guys hard,
helpful,
man.
or at least like
As
cordial
soon
with
as Harvey didn't play tit for tat in the political thing, he was like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna kill you."
and
That's
the
what it
mayor.
seemed like in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. It's funny, man. It's messed up. Is really what I'm trying to say. That Harvey's approach, where it's like, no, I'm not going to be a politician because I'm not a candidate. I represent a cause, and the cause is the candidate. You just don't understand that. He said that at one point, and so he is kind of busting out. He's breaking through a lot of political barriers where instead of going to dinners, doing all these things, he's hosting events at his shop for like cultural events, meeting with young people, banging his supporters, the whole thing, like right?
Cult leader, cult leader
Cult
status
leader,
almost.
cult leader status,
Urban cult leader.
and in the way that his opponent, Mr. What was his name? White?
Dan White.
Daniel
Dan
White.
White. He also did not go by the books and just went ahead and was like, yeah, screw the system, except he killed somebody because he couldn't get what he wanted because I mean, like, I don't know. I don't have a way to describe this because it was so messed up. But I don't know. I feel like there's this weird yin and yang, dark matter, light matter thing going on with those two events, where he says, I just represent a cause. I'm not being a politician. Like, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna take this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, what you're
so
saying is that the energy balance of darkness
Yes,
and light
it's like
was channeling those people, and they were conduits for it, and they were just.
It might be a different movie you're
marionettes.
talking about, Ryan.
I think what I'm trying to say.
No, we're on Matrix, right?
No, let's talk. Let's talk about this. It's like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, right? It's like that song.
It's like the
Something's gotta give.
It's like the Metachlorians and like
Yes.
like the good, like the dark and light side.
You guys
the
suck.
Force.
And the cryptoplans,
So it's like that
too.
song, Something's Gotta Give, man. There's that immovable object, which is the political system that they were facing. And then there's the unstoppable force of just too many people to ignore anymore because they're all vocal now. And, something's gotta give. Well, he did get elected. All this stuff happened. And my God, that guy, White, that was on he broke, he broke, and
it's like he instead of having just a life where he was just completely sour and mean and like just hurtful towards that community, he condensed it down into a couple of evenings and just like all of that just like oppositional force
in the
after
film,
he broke,
that's true.
he used it.
I mean,
and then
we can't definitely say what
it's over.
We can't certainly
forward.
say what he actually did. I don't know his life. He could have been a mentally unstable
I was
person
speaking
who
metaphorically, like in the yin yang sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to talk about the energy balance, David.
To
I was for some reason
that?
I was collecting it. I was connecting it with reality.
Dave, what's your pH level at? Are you with us?
I think
acidic?
it's. Oh my goodness. Post podcast, I'm gonna vent about pH levels.
Oh God! All right, we better get to ratings before that happens.
Eat your Brussels sprouts.
Brian, go.
So I thought Milk was a pretty good biopic. It was a great slice of history in San Francisco in this time, and that's really what it mostly seemed like. The sense of community that you have from watching it is pretty profound, pretty meaningful. So I thought that was really nice, and overall, I think I'll give it. I
Or
don't know.
something.
I don't
If
know
you
where I'm
don't have
going
a
with
good
this.
rating system,
Okay.
that's
No,
your
no, no.
fault.
You know what it is? It's the fact that I got distracted because I've been looking at my notes and I just remembered
Oh,
reading an
you're
article
just
Why do your notes
too
not
good.
have
That's
a
why you
rating
can't do it.
system?
You're
about
just
the
too
boy from Minnesota. Did you guys remember the scene where a guy called from I
Yes.
think it was
Twice.
Rochester,
He
Minnesota?
called twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
I
don't
don't
know.
think he
Okay.
said he didn't say the city,
Um.
as far as I remember. Maybe he did.
Well, Richmond, Minnesota. He wrote into City Pages, our newspaper, City Pages, and
Oh,
he was talking about how he was the boy who in the movie was in a wheelchair, but in reality he was actually just born without kneecaps, and
Oh.
he wore braces on his legs instead. So he called in
Well, he still
or
couldn't run
wrote
away,
into
right?
City Pages.
but are you
and
saying he ran races?
No, he wore braces.
Oh, okay. I'm like, if this kid ran
Very,
races,
very different.
up.
No. I mean, he wore braces, but he also had those like blades, like those bouncy feet things that
Oh,
foot
really?
amputees have. So I mean, he was
Like that murderer
he was a
from South.
racer too.
I see those people in the
He was
Olympics.
he was a speed racer, just hopping around.
The whole
Anyway.
premise of this movie is now moot because that kid could have run like a cheetah.
Yeah. No. Sorry. Yeah, he wasn't actually in races.
Okay, so
I want to
someone
make
It was
that
called in
clear.
snowing outside, so he couldn't.
Our state
So
from
really,
Minnesota.
I forgot that I was just pausing because I was trying to think of a good rating
Forgot
system.
your rating
but
system.
I
God,
but I still
man.
haven't come up with it. So David, why don't you go ahead?
Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
I thought that Sean Penn did a honestly really, really super, very good
Oh,
job.
I got it.
I actually couldn't believe how well he did in the movie. I thought the story was pretty good. I don't know, the way it kind of evoked the emotion that makes you want to be involved in politics and really care for those who are disparaged. Did a good job in that. And I thought the filmography was good, directing was good. Story was kind of lacking, but overall I'd give it 8 out of 10 boyfriends who hanged themselves.
Oh
Oh my
God.
God.
Jesus.
God
I know we
damn.
do irreverent rating systems. That's you take the cake, man.
Oh,
That's
jaw dropping.
very irreverent.
Whew.
God.
John, what you got?
I can't say my rating system because that's just going to sound insensitive.
Really? More
Okay.
insensitive?
I give it 6.2 out of 6.9. Shirtless James Franco's licking frosting off of Sean Penn's mouth.
I like that one.
That's it. The rating system.
That's the image I'll go to sleep with.
Fine, no
not
excuses.
not the hanging boyfriends.
That's your best.
Well, I give milk 6 glasses of milk out of 7.5 glasses of milk.
I encourage all of the viewers to go to Wikipedia and look up the film and look at the
Glasses of milk.
poster for the film because Sean Penn is standing in front of a bunch of arches, right? But at first look, the arches are super white and they're kind of flowy. And if you look at it, it just says milk, and all you see in the background is like milk, like doing cascade of milk. Behind him.
Yeah.
I was like, they went with that
look
angle.
They look like channels. They look like
They do.
streams coming
It
through.
looks like a
Mm.
giant waterfall of milk coming up from the floor and out into the air.
With Sean Penn just with the goofy smiles
On
in front
the
of
goofy look, just standing in front, like, it's a movie about milk.
it. We're diving in the milk. All right,
Oh,
y'all. Well, thank you so much for getting together.
Oh my god, it does look like it. I just
you.
looked it up now.
Thank you
It
to our
does.
dear viewers for listening to this week's episode of
How
Digital
about
North.
dear listeners?
Next
actually,
week
thank
we
you.
have Nate. Nate is doing an album for us. I've already pressured him, so hopefully he'll get on it soon. I'm looking forward to that. Nate's eccentric, so expect an eccentric album. That's offensive to most of the senses.
Mm.
Anyway, have a good night, everybody. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter now.
Twitter.
Curious Magnet,
Twitter.
baby. Thank
Okay.
you. Stay curious.
Leave a thumbs up and like this video if you'd like to see merch
And don't forget to subscribe.
delivered straight to your door.
And scene.
Wait, what?